I love it though. The weather's supposed to be, well, I saw the temperature was good, but then I think we're supposed to have storms or something.
I think so. I think it's going to get warmer though throughout the week. We had 70 just a couple days ago, and then boom, it was right back down to 30. How crazy was that?
And of course, I turned off the heat in my house. So this morning I woke up and it was like 50 degrees. And I'm like, okay,
Uh,
great time to go to the gym.
right?
Okay, we have people logging in.
Awesome. Are we pretty much live right now so everybody
Oh, yeah,
can?
we are live. So
Oh,
don't
okay,
say
pretty
any,
cool. Okay, I won't. I'll keep the
no
dirty
cuss
stuff
words.
off. No, I'm just kidding. Hello, everybody. Super excited to be here. You didn't catch that conversation, right?
Okay, so welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us for this month's Story of event where we invite and highlight the stories of entrepreneurs and small business owners making their mark in Iowa. We want to remind you that as you create your own story, treat yourself to this time each month to rekindle your entrepreneurial spirit. My name is TJ Daniels, and I am the program director of the Iowa Center's Women's Business Center. The Iowa Center's Women's Business Center is funded in part through a cooperative agreement with the U.S. Small Business Administration. You will receive an email after this event from my colleague, Katie Hinches, thanking you for attending today's session, information on how to connect to our speaker, as well as a form to complete. Please do us a big favor and take some time to fill this form out. This information allows us to continue providing free educational programming for small business owners in Iowa. Now go ahead and take some time to locate the chat function on your Zoom screen so you could join the conversation by introducing yourself and your business, including any links you may have, and then go ahead and ask questions or add comments. Today's story of guest speaker is Taufeek Shah. Taufeek is the CEO of Lola's Fine Sauces, but before he began his entrepreneurial journey, he worked in corporate sales at Principal. It was there during an employee potluck that he truly realized the possibility of turning a generational family hot sauce recipe into a successful business. After realizing the popularity of his mother's family hot sauce recipe, he opened a stand and sold it every Saturday at the Des Moines Farmers Market. After its continued success, Taufeek officially established Lola's Fine Sauces, located in West Des Moines in 2015 before continuing to collaborate with his mom, Lola, and his sister Hannah to open Lola's Fine um, Lola's Fine Kitchen restaurant in Ankeny in 2018. It's been that long.
It's been that
Okay,
long.
it's been that long. Most recently, Taufeek was named one of the top entrepreneurs in making it with Lowe's and has since launched Lowe's products in all 1,300 stores nationwide. He gives all of his credit to his mother, Lola, for the success the company has had and for establishing his burning passion for the company. Taufeek believes the company is all about family and embracing your heritage. And what better way to do it than to share Lola's family's hot sauce recipe with the world? Thank you so much, Taufeek, for joining us today. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, thank you for that amazing introduction, TJ, by the way, and thank you for allowing me to be part of this and share our story. What you're doing is incredible, and the Iowa Center is amazing. So, I appreciate all that you guys do for all of us. So, Taufeek Shah, founder and CEO of Lola's Fine Hot Sauce. So, I was actually born in Waterloo, Iowa. So, that's where I was born. I went to school there for, I think, for a few years. I'm trying to think. It's, I'm a little bit older now. Eventually, my mom is an immigrant from the Philippines. She ended up coming to Iowa to take care of local farmers during a time where there just wasn't any good health care. And at the time, my mom was working at Covenant Medical Center in Waterloo. But then my mom had an opportunity to take over a smaller practice in a small farming town called Winthrop, Iowa. So eventually we moved there, and I was born and I was pretty much raised in the country. My town had 700 people. Everybody knew everybody's business. My dad was always actively around. The only thing was my dad was in the army for 30 years. So he was always actively deployed most of my life. But, when the army tells you got to go, you got to go. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell. Born and raised in Waterloo. Mom pretty much raised me. I grew up in small town Iowa, and I'm here now in West Des Moines in the big city. So that's kind of a brief intro about me.
So tell us a little bit about your time at Principal. And I mean, of course, we all love the comfort of a paycheck, guaranteed paycheck, but like what really prompted you to just quit Principal and then to jump out on your own?
That's a good question, TJ. You know, the crazy thing is like entrepreneurship runs in my family. So my mom, her being a first generation immigrant, and taking that leap of faith to start her own medical practice. Growing up, I got to witness that. My mom would work her own business, and then in the evenings she would go work at a healthcare facility in Independence just to pay the bills as a doctor there, making rounds in the nursing home. And I would always go with my mom, and seeing how she took care of patients and how well she was with the community were sort of the things that enriched me with the knowledge that I have today. So even though I was at Principal, which was an amazing company and an amazing opportunity, and a big, great local company here, I've always had that entrepreneur drive. So even when I was at Principal, I always had a second job, whether I was, maybe serving at a restaurant. And my background's actually in food. I've bartended, I've served, but I also had other ventures too. And one of my very first entrepreneurial adventures, this is, I don't know if this is okay to say, but back in the day, drug reps used to come to my mom's office and they would drop off, they'd bring food and try to get, people to push certain drugs. But one of them was a Pfizer drug. And they made really good pens. Like these pens were immaculate. I mean, they looked like unique shapes. Let's just put it that way. And if you know what I'm talking about, it's one of those pills that you can take. Anyway, I brought those pens to school. In my first entrepreneurial journey, I sold those for $50 a pop. I remember coming home from school, and this was in eighth grade, and I had like almost $400, and then I had like $300 in the pipeline from people that were going to buy them the next day. And I remember my mom freaked out, or my mom's nurse freaked out at me. She's like, "Hey, I think Taufeek stole money from your desk." I'm like, "No, mom, I took those pens and sold them." And my mom's like, "Great, go ahead and keep it." So that was just one of many small entrepreneurial stunts that I've done. I've done various things from eBay stores, Amazon, to everything. But really, working at Principal, it was a great position. And being a Principal, I was in sales, so I had a little bit more flexibility as long as I was hitting my numbers. But the biggest thing was we had a corporate potluck and a food day. And that food day, I was thinking, what am I going to bring to this food day? Because I always feel like a bum if I don't bring anything. And then, I mooch off somebody else's stuff. So I'm like, what do I got to bring? I remember I'm already late for work because I don't know I can't remember what I was doing. I was probably bartending or serving the night before somewhere downtown Des Moines. And I found this hot sauce. I'm like, "Oh, my mom's hot sauce. Yes, it's right there. It's in the fridge." I grab it because my mom would always drop off a case for me once a month for me to use because that I grew up eating it. I dropped it off at the potluck and people tried it. They said it was the best thing that they had ever had. Literally everybody in my department walked up to me and said, "That's the best hot sauce. Where'd you buy it? Is it Tapatio? Is it Cholula?" I'm like, "No, it's my mom's hot sauce." And like, "Oh my God, you should be selling that." Literally from right then and there, that was my aha moment to really, okay, we can do something. I remember distinctively right after that on my break, I literally called my mom and I said, "Hey mom, I'm going to bottle your hot sauce and sell it. Can I get the recipe?" She's like, "Yeah, only if I can help you." And I said, "Absolutely." So, my transition, or my working at Principal, is amazing. My transition was, I mean, it was just on the go. It was just something that just hit. It felt right in my, you get that gut feeling when things are right. It just felt right. It felt scary too, though, because, I had a very good, comfortable job. And, I was working my way up, climbing the corporate ladder, but this was something that was awesome. It was passionate about, you know what I mean? I was just so passionate about it. I remember working on designing the logos, trying to figure out how to make hot sauce, how to improve the quality, where can I source my ingredients, where can I source my bottles, all while working my full-time job. And I didn't even quit my full-time job until close to 8 months after I started Lola's. So even though I was out there making hot sauce with my mom, we rented out actually a commercial kitchen in Valley Junction. It's a nice little restaurant. I don't think it's there anymore, but it was called Tres Amigos. If anybody remembers that, it's, I think, where the Billy V's is now. But we used to rent that out, and it was a bar. So my mom and I could not get in until 11 o'clock at night. So from 11 until like 5 a.m., we would be making hot sauce Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I would load up my car, and I had this little Honda Civic, little 4-cylinder car, and we had like 70 cases of hot sauce. Like I had the thing loaded to the brim, and it was like almost collapsing on the wheels. And I'm like, okay, well, we just spent a bunch of money to make this hot sauce. I got to go sell it. So I would drive around town. I would sell it. I'd go to every farmer's markets in the Midwest, and I would be doing this all while working my full-time job. And then I got the idea to, there's got to be a better way to do this, because I did farmers markets for 1 to 2, and we still do. We still stay true to our roots. Being part of the downtown Des Moines farmers market is a big part of our culture, and it's one of the things that we will never let go of. We love being down there and seeing the people, but grinding consistently, doing 2 to 3 markets every day was just a challenge. Not enough manpower and a lot of labor, especially when you're working with full-time job and trying to make ends meet everywhere else. So I went to Hy-Vee, and Hy-Vee was the first retailer that brought us in. And I remember going store to store, and I would drive, to clear up north to Mason City, and sell hot sauce there. I'd sell like 10 cases of hot sauce, and then I'd stay overnight and demo it. But I was like, there's got to be an easier way to get this, because now, even though I'm not doing the farmers markets, I'm now in the distribution game, right? I'm driving my product, I'm delivering it, and I ended up pitching to the Hy-Vee warehouse, and they brought us in. So that was our first big account. Yeah. So that was my transition in a nutshell. It was just like, let's do it. And then 8 months went by, and yeah, I finally put in my 2 weeks notice, and did it, and everybody was supportive of me at principal, which was great.
I always tell my son about you. We always are at Gateway Market. We're always going through Bebops. And he was like, "Hey, there's Lola's. Hey, there's Lola's." And I'm like, "Dude, Lola's is everywhere. You don't have to point it out no more. Like, stop. It's okay." So we know your mom has been a huge supporter. And of course that is cornerstone for any small business, of course, starting. But how has it been working with family? I know anytime anybody ever says, "Oh, I'm thinking about going in business with my brother," I'm like, "Oh, don't do it. Reconsider." But, you know, have you had any challenges? Would you suggest it? Or, how do you feel about working with family? I love Hannah.
Yeah.
So
No, that's a good question. And believe it or not, Hannah and I get along really well. Where we sometimes disagree is on the business end, because my background being a financial guy, I'm always looking at data, right? We're very data driven at Lola's. That's just the way that we do it. And a little bit of data, but also with a little bit of, hey, we've got to make this happen. But to answer your question, family can be tough. My mom and I, we get along fantastically. In fact, my mom, she's going to be working with us. We're actually going to Expo West, which is the world's largest trade show for specialty foods in LA. And she's going to be there for a week with us. And we're going to be working with some great chefs and some great folks to get our products out there. But also, we work really well with Hannah. So, the kitchen is a completely separate, it's a completely different entity. We own that together as a family, my sister, mom, and I. But then we also trademark license our Lola's logo to it, so we can use the kitchen logo to really heighten that awareness, because our brand is, as you know, TJ, has grown significantly in the past 5 years, and we think everybody's accustomed to our chili peppers. So just
yes.
adds tremendous brand value, and it's a brand that you can trust. The quality's there. But yeah, working in a family can be tough. Sometimes we don't always agree, and sometimes when we disagree, it can be pretty bad. But as you know, and you've been with us on this journey for some of the things, the amazing things that the Iowa Center has done for us, we get through them together and we make things happen. So you kind of learn, and it's a learning process, especially when you have different ideas to the table. You know what I mean? Everybody's got their own idea and how it should be. But then when something's already established, it's kind of hard to deviate from the norm that already is working, right? So we put differences aside and we make it work, and we're all one cohesive family. So we love each other. We give each other a lot of crap. But would I recommend it? I absolutely would recommend it, with certain cautionary things. Is just make sure every piece of your business is everybody's aligned on, from how your execution is going to be to the financials to everything else. That's the way it should be.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question.
Yes, yes. Well, because I'm like, okay, so do I could get really deep into it, so but we won't. Okay, so I of course, and I guess technically we're still in the pandemic, but going through that challenging time, for a lot of small business owners, as we know, a lot of people did not make it. Um, and even still, I know there's supply chain issues and just a lot going on. Prices are increasing. Um, so just talk a little bit about that. Like, did you have a lot of challenges during the pandemic? I know, of course, employee retention has been an issue, just talk a little bit about what issues you may have faced and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, that's a very good question, TJ. And I'll first start with the restaurant side. The restaurant side, to be honest, was brutal. It was tough. We literally had to shut our doors for 30 days overnight, and people were forced to take out if they even felt comfortable to do so during the pandemic. So we really had to pivot our business model and kind of put our feelers out there. But the restaurant was a tough scenario, and we all pulled together as a family to try to make that work. And I remember we had almost several discussions like, hey, should we just shut this down? I mean, we're just nobody's eating, you know what I mean? But then all of a sudden, as we weathered the storm, people started doing caterings. People shifted more to an online presence and an online branding, and thankfully, that's where my expertise is. My expertise is marketing, right? And I'm trying to pivot to, like, and one of the things that I always fought with my sister was like DoorDash and Uber Eats or the local delivery services like My Town to Go. And my sister would be like, no, we don't want to use those because the quality is going to be bad of our food. And I'm like, well, we have to. I mean, we've got to be able to do this, or otherwise we got to build or set up a delivery program. So pivoting that really helped and has weathered the storm. We're not 100% yet, but we feel very confident that things are getting better and we're holding on, and the restaurant's doing well. On the hot sauce side, it was a little bit of a different situation, because for Lola's during that time when the pandemic literally struck. Actually, I'm going to go back a month before the pandemic was even announced. We were a small team. We only had 3 people on our team at the time. 3 people, several 1099 and part-time contractors to really help bolster our brand. Because we bootstrapped it. Every single part of our business was bootstrapped. Overnight, we saw orders just keep coming through the door. Almost all of our inventory was liquidated within a couple of weeks, which was crazy. And we saw the momentum. People were getting out to retail stores. People were cooking at home more due to the pandemic, and people were trying a lot of new things. And I think a lot of the stimulus money and all the unemployment money really helped get people out there to support the businesses, because ultimately the idea is to get that money and spend it to your local business. And I think a lot of people really gravitated towards Lola's and other things. And the pandemic, even though it was tough, we started off pretty strong. And so we went from 3 employees, which we now have 15 full-time employees, as well as part-time employees all across the country now. It was so unique to see that situation and then grow like crazy. And then, as you know, a lot of these big box retailers, so the standard routine for Lola's, for my sales team, and I'm the sales guy, right? I'm on a plane. Let's say I've got a meeting with a grocery chain like Kroger, right? I'm on a plane. I'm going to fly to Cincinnati. I'm going to go meet the buyer for 10 minutes, hopefully pitch my story to them if they have time. And then hopefully they love my product enough to even give me a chance to be on the shelf. That was my routine. Every single summer, I would be on a plane going somewhere pitching our product. It was a grind. But with the pandemic, all of that stuff stopped. And it actually made things more efficient because we were able to do Zoom meetings versus having to spend a bunch of upfront expenses to travel. And one of those big deals, and it really transformed our business, actually changed it completely, was the Lowe's deal. Hy-Vee has always been a great account, and as well as Fairway. And prior to the local ones, not many people know this, but we were also in Albertson, Safeway, the Save Mart. At the time, pre-pandemic, we were in close to maybe 3,000 retailers across the country, including Canada as well. And then when we got the Lowe's deal, so Lowe's had a program to find the next best product in America, all virtual. And they would look for 1,400 different finalists. Out of 1,400 of them, I was one of the finalists. So I got a chance to be featured on TV with Damon John from Shark Tank. It wasn't Shark Tank, but it was Damon John hosting it. Got to have a great mentorship session with him, which was amazing. And then actually pitch my product to the Lowe's executives, the CEO, Marvin, and everybody. It was just incredible to go through that diversity program. And their mission was to find a small business, family, that's minority or diverse owned, and really help bring that to the masses without any of the headaches that normal big box retailers go through. And it was incredible because with that placement, not only did we receive a small business grant, but we also got placement in 1,700 Lowe's stores. That's 1,700 of them. And they didn't just order a case of hot sauce. In order to make this work for them, we had to put together what we call a shipper. And I'll show you what that looks like here. It's one of these. So it's like a box that sits and stands in the store where they can be easily assembled because their resets were already done. And so we had to put together a shipper, and the only way to make the shipper costs work, because costs went up through the roof during the pandemic. Wood went up, freight went up, everything just went up. It was insane. It was nuts. I mean, to paint a picture, we used to pay a couple bucks a pallet. We were paying almost $15 to $20. I mean, there's just so many increases that we had to deal with. So we had to increase our quantity count to make it work. And we had a shipper with 144 units of hot sauce that went out to 1,700 Lowe's stores. So it was incredible. Really transformed our business. From there, we hired as many local people as we could here. We actually have one remote employee, two remote employees now. But it was just incredible to go through that. But to answer your question, TJ, about the supply chains, they have been rough. The prices have gone through the roof. And a lot of people don't know this, but our price, even though it has remained the same on the shelf, not many people know that we've been eating a lot of fees on the back end, because we want to try to make sure that our product's affordable, with the same quality to get out to the customer. So that's costs have gone up on everything from glass to plastic to our pepper prices have gone up, because we don't use powders. You can get powder that's cheap. It doesn't give you the full flavor. You can add fillers or anything like that, but we're getting fresh, real peppers. We're bringing in truckloads of fresh red jalapenos, fresh habaneros, fresh garlic, fresh lime juice that's squeezed. I mean, we're getting it and we're making the hot sauce in a giant blender. Imagine that. We're not concocting something with bits of this and that. So for us, at the heart of our company, we're an agricultural company, and everything has gone up. So to answer your question, TJ, a lot of things have gone up in price, and supply chains have just been they've taught us a lot of patience. Let's put that way over the past year.
So you're still manufacturing the hot sauce yourself?
So we do. We don't manufacture it ourselves. We actually
Okay.
co-pack it. So we have contracts with local vendors as well
Okay.
as some regional vendors. Just because right now, we went from 3,000 retailers, and we're now in close to almost 8 to 10,000 retailers, and food restaurants across the U.S. and Canada in different regions. And in order to make this a sustainable business, you have to have a good operating margin, right? And we have to be able to grow. And part of that operating margin that we identified that was eating out of our costs was freight, because freight and
Oh,
gas and
so
labor
you have
has
to produce it
increased.
closer to
Yeah, exactly,
okay.
exactly. So, we literally went through every process that we could within our organization and thought, okay, the biggest killer on every single deal that we have is freight, because if we make it here locally, or if we make it in the Midwest region, wherever, and then ship it to California, it's crazy. The freight's insane. So we've now started partnering with local co-ops across the country to really help get our product done, and it's really helped diversify our business and keep us afloat. So that's really how we've been able to keep the cost the same for the end customer, all while absorbing minimal costs on our end, just to make sure that you guys can have a good product. Because that was our goal. That was my mom's goal. My mom's mission was everybody should try this, and we want to make sure that you enjoy what we deliver.
And that's probably why you travel so much, because you have to check out every single one of those locations. And okay, okay, it
Yep,
all makes sense.
quality control. And well, now that I hope we feel confident we can move the pandemic behind us, getting back to food shows, which we haven't had for 2 years, and just seeing people. You know what I mean? It's been rough not being able to see people. Obviously, being in Iowa, we're blessed to have had an open state, which has been, I think, great for businesses, 100%. And being able to now do that in multiple other states, it feels good.
Okay. I guess that is one of the things that is guaranteed with Lola's hot sauce is the consistency, the quality, because after a while, some hot sauces sit and they separate and they start tasting a little funny.
Separation is not bad. Separation is a good thing, because if it separates, you know that you're using real ingredients. The reason why a lot of hot sauces don't separate is they use a thickener called xanthan gum. So
Okay.
it's funny. We just got into a big redistributor called Dot Foods, which we work with. They're an amazing company. They basically pick up weekly from our facility and then redistribute our products to other distributors. And they have a great culinary team. And I remember their head chef, his name's Pete Gump, cool guy, comes up to me and he's like, "You know how I know your hot sauce is really good? It separates just a little bit." He said, "That's the best thing."
You're
So
like, yes, we
yes,
separate.
yes, yeah, we do. But we've since figured out how to formulate it so it doesn't separate it, all while keeping the same ingredients. So it's been good, and not adding any thickeners or anything artificial. So it's been
Oh,
great.
that's
Yeah.
cool. Okay. Okay, so I'll remind everybody that you can ask questions in chat, because if not, I'll keep on asking them. Like, even though I know Taufeek, I could ask
Fire
questions for
away.
forever. Yes. So
Fire
please
away.
ask questions in the chat. Okay. So, like, for your product lines, do you have any more things that are going to come up, or are you, because you have the hot chocolate, or not the hot chocolate, but the, you know what I'm saying, the spicy chocolate bars, and like,
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
have other stuff?
That's a good question. Yeah. So we have a lot of great products. So obviously, we've got our hot sauces and our hot sauces. Everything that we specialize in at Lola's is always going to be all natural. We're never going to put out a product that's not all natural. We want that product to feel good, and taste true and stay true to what our brand is. And obviously, our hot sauces, they're all natural, non-GMO, project verified, and gluten-free, plant-based, and whatever. Some of them are. The Buffalo, I think, is not, but we do use real Midwest butter in it, which is why it's so addictive. Um, but yes, we have additional other products too. So we've got our salsas. I don't know if people know this, but we have a great line of salsas. We actually have our mild, which it's got a. And the cool thing about our salsas is it has a dab of every little bit of our hot sauce. We always make a call out to our hot sauce because we're focused on hot sauce first. But to diversify our products that make sense and things that my mom used to cook, it was the perfect fit because my mom used to jar a bunch of salsa. I remember one of my mom's patients, she used to come over every week and just drop off tomatoes at her house. And I'd be like, Mom, what the heck are you going to do with all those tomatoes? I mean, it wasn't just a box, it was like 7 tubs worth of tomatoes. And my mom's like, oh, I'm going to make salsa. And I remember my mom just had canned salsa everywhere. And so we were able, I was like, Mom, what if we just launched salsa? So I got her recipe. We launched her mild salsa. Then we did a couple of spin-offs on that, right? We've got our smoked bacon and sweet corn. I love bacon. I'm from Iowa, so I got to get my bacon and corn in there. Um, Hatch chili and sweet corn. Now, the hatch chili is actually my favorite. So growing up, my dad, he used to be stationed in New Mexico in the army. So my dad was stationed at White Sands, New Mexico, and I would go visit my dad in the summers with my mom, and we would always go to the Hatch Chili Festival. And I just remember my mom's face would light up. She loved that festival because the fresh greens, the fresh farmers, the local people there. So we created a Hatch chili and sweet corn, which I modeled after one of her favorite foods. And then we have our sweet roasted reaper. We had to get a spicy one. So it is pretty hot, but it's addictively hot and it's delicious. And gosh, I'm trying to think we're missing one. Oh, the sweet and spicy mango. So sweet and spicy mango, we've always had mango salsa. And if you know the Filipino culture, mango is a big part of our diet. Everybody eats mangoes in the Philippines. And my mom used to make fresh mango salsa growing up. Well, we couldn't do fresh mango salsa, which we tried. It was tough because having an all natural salsa that will only last 7 days with refrigeration, we could not do that. We tried it though. We actually did try it, and it was tough. We were in, I think, almost 30 Hy-Vees, and every Hy-Vee wanted it, and we were just like, we can't do it. I mean, because you got to rotate it out every 7 days. So what we did was we took that same sauce and we figured, oh, we could cook it, and if you cook it, it'll last forever. So we jarred it, and that's our sweet and spicy mango, which is delicious. We actually have a new salsa. I can't tell you right now because my PR team will kill me. But it's coming out over the next week. It's an exclusive first to launch at Hy-Vee, and it's really good. We're actually going to start teasing it on our social medias and online, but it is phenomenal. I'll give you a hint. It does use a fruit, and it's a red fruit, and it's really tasty, and it uses some peppers. That's all I can say.
Well,
um,
thanks a lot.
it'll be coming soon. But what I can tell you though, the new products that we just launched are actually going to be in all Hy-Vee stores. There are biscuits. So we have biscuit cookies. So we have a mango habanero biscuit cookie, and then we have a cranberry almond as well as a dark chocolate cherry chipotle, and that's launching in all Hy-Vee stores. So they're fantastic. They're like a cookie. I'm trying to see if I have one here in my office somewhere. I don't, but I'll send everybody what it looks like. Or you can check out our social media. Follow us at Lola's Fine Hot Sauce on Instagram. You can see our biscuits. They're so good. They're individually packaged. They're like cookies. You can use them on charcuterie. You can grab them and go, but they're just so good. So that's launching in every Hy-Vee store here shortly over the next week or so. And then we have our
Wow.
Bloody Mary mix. So if anybody likes to
Oh,
drink,
yes.
toss one back, or if you just like it with, I like to just drink it with ice because I really don't drink that often. So having that tomato juice, it's really good. But ours is unique, so it's not just any Bloody Mary. we're not trying to be the king of Bloody Marys, but we do have a fantastic recipe, and it's our Southern jalapeno. So it's got a real nice Southern taste to it, and it's got a little bit of Lola's to give it that jalapeno kick. But it's perfect. It's delicious. It's tasty. And if there's anybody that's plant based, it is plant based. A lot of Bloody Mary mixes use anchovy. Ours is 100% plant based. So yeah,
Oh, wow. Okay,
yeah.
let me read a couple of these comments.
Sure.
Carrie says, I've been following you since right before the pandemic. Since you brought the sauce to Bebops, my boyfriend has been obsessed. I can't wait to tell him about your story when he gets off of work. Good luck to your family.
And you know what?
Um,
I want to add on to that real quick, TJ. So Bebops is amazing. I love Bebops. They're so good. Neil's one of my good friends over there, and we're actually working on a really cool project with Bebops. I can't release the details yet,
what?
but I mean, let's just say it's going to be available at every location. It's going to be on a sandwich, and it's a very unique sandwich that will have some Lolas in it, but it's going to be amazing. And I can't wait to bring this to market. So I hope your boyfriend is excited because it's coming. There's a new
Oh
one
my
coming.
gosh. And of course, Bebops is an Iowa classic, so we'll be
Absolutely.
waiting for it. Alex says, sign me up for the bacon and sweet corn salsa. Yes, I'm, I don't even eat pork all that much, but bacon, come on. Oh my
Right.
gosh, I bet you it's amazing.
It's delicious. And we use
Cart,
local bacon too. Go ahead. Oh, go ahead,
you said
TJ.
no. What did you say?
Oh, so we use local bacon. So we partnered with Brookwood Farms. We use a local bacon here, and then we try to get as much local bacon as possible. It's obviously with supply chains, it's been challenging, but we try to source local as much as we can.
Oh my goodness. Carla says I'm getting hungry listening to this. I'm like, yeah, me too. Okay, so what is your biggest piece of advice for someone just starting their entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah. So my biggest piece of advice is to just do it. I think 90% of it is just doing it. A lot of people overthink it, and I was actually just out at a meeting yesterday. So I sit on the board of directors for the DMAC Foundation and got to meet some amazing, brilliant individuals on that board. And one of them is chief investment officer over at Principal. And he came up and talked to me and he's like, hey, he's a very well-spoken guy. He's like, I'm very structured. I'm very by the book. You are what makes America work because you're just doing it. And I said, that's exactly right. I think if any entrepreneur just gets up and does it and figures it out, that's 90% of the battle. And then the rest of it is just, fighting those challenges and taking them head on. So my biggest piece of advice for you, it would be to just get out there and start your business, and everything will fall in their place if your heart is in the right place for it.
Absolutely. I'm a firm believer, of course, in having a business plan, but sometimes I'm like, you cannot plan for years and years on end. Like, even if you just want to call it the testing phase, like,
Right.
get out, test your product, test your service, get volunteers, do it with your family and friends, whatever it is. Like, test that, and then you could really finish your business plan or get to wherever you need to be to do. But we all know the entrepreneurial journey is hard,
It is. It's
no
tough.
matter no matter
It
what. Um, I
is.
guess and something I was talking about yesterday is okay. So of course I talk about make sure you have your financials together, make sure you're spending time, on your business, and make sure you spend time on social media. Make sure you then you have your family, then you have your. Oh yeah, I have to eat and bathe too.
Yeah.
When you first started, how did you balance or manage it all? I always say sometimes you have to accept the fact that you're going to drop a couple of balls. Like, we're human, and that is part of being an entrepreneur, is just knowing you're human and tomorrow's a new day. But how did you manage that work-life balance? What did you do for self-care? You know what I'm saying? Like, when you were just about to break, like, how did you bring yourself back?
That's a very good question, TJ. I mean, I remember when I first started Lola, so I'll give you an idea of what my schedule was like. So I would work at Principal, and I would always work. I was working the late night shift because I always had to call. California was a big account of mine, so I'd have to work till sometimes 8, sometimes till 9 at night. So I'd work at Principal from 10 or 11 at night. But then before work, I would spend 4 hours working on Lolas or going to buyer meetings. After work, I was working on social media and planning my content and then making hot sauce. There was no time for really myself at all. And in fact, during those times, now I'm finally getting to the point where I have time for myself. But when you start your own business, there's a lot of things that you're going to have to, focus out, because you're going to focus on your business and you're going to just tunnel vision it because you want it to be successful, right? If you believe in what you're doing, you're going to make it happen. But yeah, it's tough. It took a toll. I mean, I also have a son too. So I remember there were some weekends I wasn't able to get talent because I was trying to work a food show so I could pay my bills. You know what I mean? I would go work a farmer's market downtown Des Moines. I'd go work a farmer's market in Omaha, or I'd work a farmer's market in Mason City. But I always tried to make time for my family in a way that worked with my business. So for example, if my son who lives in the Waterloo area, if I could do a market in that region while he was there, I could go, work the farmer's market and still be able to pick him up versus something like that. So it took a lot of coordination. But the reward, there's a lot of highs, there's a lot of lows, right? But the reward is once you make it, you make it, you know what I mean? And you create something that changes the future, that adds tremendous value to people. And we're adding tremendous value through flavor, through our foods and everything that we're producing. So I would definitely recommend that starting your business, try to make some time for yourself. It's tough and it's going to be tough, but once you get through it and you make it, it's going to get easy. So that's the way it works.
Absolutely. Okay, so I know a lot of small business owners, they're serial entrepreneurs. There's always the next idea, the next business, the next thing that they want to do. I know you have a couple of other ventures. I don't know if you want to talk about them, but it's not like me and Taufeek go out and drink or anything together, but I am super
We
amazed
should. We
with,
need we need to get a happy
yes,
hour.
or,
Yeah, be
or
happy to.
lemonade.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about apps, web, social, or um is it called
Yeah,
brokerage
yeah,
or
yeah, absolutely. So we have a couple of different pieces of business, and a lot of people don't know this. We don't actively advertise it. So I do own a small marketing firm that's based here in Des Moines called Apps Web Social. We've worked with a lot of great accounts. We've worked with like Herd Real Estate. We've worked with Brookwood Farms. We've created application development. So we'll develop mobile apps, help with website creation, search engine optimization, things like that. So we can
and tell
really.
the story of how that came about because
Yeah.
that's
Oh yeah, the story is awesome. So Winfield is one of my buddies. He used to live here, just moved to Florida, but he's still Iowan at heart, has a lot of family here. So he used to work for me actually. He used to do a lot of our digital marketing, our SEO, and our design. And we were just doing so well with it. People were reaching out to us and be like, "Hey, can you help us? How do you do it? Who does your social media? Who does your graphics?" I'm like, "Well, this guy does." And then Winfield would be like, "Well, I work for you." And I'd be like, "Well, I think we ought to change that." So I said, "You know what? I tell you what, why don't you go start your own business? We've got all these accounts that really want some help getting their business set up. Why don't you start this company? I'll take a small piece of percentage of it. I'll refer clients. You run it. Just don't work with any other hot sauce or salsa companies." That was the deal. And so that's one of my ventures, and we do have some great clients that we work with there. Another thing is too, I do a lot of consulting too. So if anybody needs help getting a product to market, right now what we're finding in this industry is a lot of vendors or a lot of manufacturers don't have capacity, or supply chains are disrupted. With our power that we've been able to procure towards our, and when I say power, I mean buying power, because we buy quite a bit of peppers, we're able to leverage our cost savings to other companies that really want to do it, as well as leverage our reputation to help get line time. So for example, TJ, if you came to me and said, "Hey, I've got the best barbecue sauce in the world, here's my recipe, how the heck do I do this?" And we're going to sit down together and I'm going to walk you through this process. We're going to negotiate contracts. We're going to make sure you get the best price so you can have a great product and be successful. So we have a consulting business. Another business within Lola's too is we have our brokerage platform. It's separate from Lola's. It's called our Lola's Connect program. It's a different entity. But what we do is, we work with big box retailers all over the country. We've got Lowe's, we're launching in Walmart, Target, Whole Foods, you name it, Kroger. We're in all of these in HEBs. We have such great relationships with them, and our products are doing well, where we can at least try to help you. So if you've got a product, let's say TJ, now you've got a hot sauce and it's ready to go after we've talked and got it up and running. Well, not a hot sauce, that's a bad example. We wouldn't probably do that. How about like a barbecue sauce? Okay. We would be able to help sell it. So we'd be able to at least try to get you a meeting. We would do our best to get you in front of the buyers. Obviously, every deal is at the buyer's discretion, right? We can't ever make a promise, but all of the customers that we've helped and worked with have had great success. In fact, one of them just got placed into 175 high Vs. So it's incredible to see their business transform. You know what I mean? And we helped them do that. So that just brings joy to what we do because it's hard to do this business. I mean, people don't know you got to make the product and you got to sell the product. You got to make the product for X, you got to sell the product for Y. And in between, you got to pay warehouse fees, you got to pay staff, you got to pay rent, you got to pay electricity, you got to pay overhead. There's a lot of fees that people don't know goes into this. And every bit of penny that we can help our customers get, it's a game changer. So yeah, so those are some of the facets, the businesses that we have. Yeah.
I got so excited when you told me about the brokerage because I'm like, a lot of people, we just don't have that knowledge. We've never been through that experience, experience that. We don't have family members who may have worked in that field, or so like, how do you get your foot in? And you're the perfect opportunity to help people learn and get their foot in the door.
Yeah, absolutely. And the
Um,
biggest thing with getting your foot into the door with a lot of these places is just trust, building those relationships. We've never really prided I mean, we pride ourselves on being a relationship focused business first. So, like, we launch products with Hy-Vee, and if the product doesn't do well, which we've had, like, for example, I'll be honest, we had a margarita mix. It wasn't, I mean, I thought it was delicious, and we have people still ask us for the margarita mix, but it really wasn't selling well. So, when Hy-Vee came and said, "Hey, we need help moving this product. What can you do for us?" We were there. You know what I mean? So as long as you can consistently show that you're engaging to try to drive those turns and be supportive, a lot of these retailers are going to return the favor back to you.
I try to, in the classes that I teach, I try to explain the importance of networking, and just introducing yourself, letting people know what you do, or even our conversation before this started. Like, you're like, oh, well, look.
Yep.
So, like how, especially during the pandemic, I guess, I always tell people, even in the chat or on social media, be like, hey, my name is TJ, I do A, B, and C, let me know if there's anything I could ever do to help you. But how, at this time, do you suggest people get out and network and meet people and just let them know about their business, their journey, and things like that?
Yeah. So, I mean, the biggest thing is promote it on social media. You are your brand. I mean, whether you love it or hate it, you've got to really get out there. You can't be afraid of it. You got to put yourself out there and connect wherever you can, whether it's LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest, whatever. Just get out there and then just try to find some great events. I mean, there's always events. I think the Iowa Center does a great job of listing events. And I know TJ, I get a lot of great emails listing, hey, we've got this seminar. Try to participate in as many as you can because a lot of them are digital now. So if you can carve out some time to just take 10 to 15 minutes to hop on a Zoom call, that could change your life or could change your business's life. And you can meet people that are incredible. And the follow-up is a big key thing, right? You meet a lot of people in my business, right? The biggest thing is following up. It's crazy. We were just at the fancy food shows in Las Vegas. It's crazy. We met John Legend and Chrissy Teigen. They were at the show. So she has a brand where she gets behind people's products, but people were terrified and things like that. And I just walked right up and said, "This is my hot sauce. Let's do something," right? You hope, right? But then along the way, you meet all these people and you get their contacts, and people are like, "I'm surprised you remembered me at the show." So, you know, having that building that good rapport that's personal and amazing is really going to fuel those relationships, and just do it whenever you can.
Now, if I see Chrissy eating some of your hot sauce on her Instagram, I'm going to lose my mind.
I
But you
hope
know what?
so.
Kelly
We never
Rowland
know.
and Black and Bold, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they got that connection, and it was like, oh my God, I know them
I know that
guys.
was crazy. Those guys are killing it. They're doing such a great job. I see their socials
Killing it.
blowing up.
Yes. And I mean, just to know that we have such amazing talent in the state of Iowa, it's like,
Exactly.
why not tap in to these people? I mean, and hence the story of.
Yep.
Um, okay, so we know social media. Of course, I preach financials, making sure you have your financials. I always say that, making sure you have those together. But when you're starting out, once again, there's not a time enough of time for everything that you're supposed to be doing. So, like, when do you know, or how do you know when it's time to, like, maybe hire somebody? Because when you're first starting, you don't have enough of money to hire a bookkeeper. You don't have enough of money to hire a social media manager. But we know how important those items
Yeah.
are to your business. Like, so when did you realize you're like, dude, I can't stay up to 2 o'clock in the morning scheduling social media posts? Like,
4 in the morning, by the way, TJ.
okay, okay, okay.
It was just kind of a feeling that just hit. I remember, when we first had our staff, a lot of and I owe it all to our staff. Our team's incredible right now. But when I first started, we had a different set of staff, and they were amazing. At one point, they were an integral part of building Lola's because we were able to come to an agreement to get them to work maybe as a contractor, right? Maybe we'll give you performance based. I think the best way to explain it of when to hire somebody is when your plate becomes so full that you just can't think anymore, but you know that the financials are there to support it, because that's one thing that you want to look at. That's when you make a move. You know what I mean? And a lot of, the follow-up question too is probably like, okay, well, what, being a small business, you don't have much capital, right? Let's say I only have $20,000 in the bank and I'm considering taking 10,000 aside to invest in this. How am I going to make it the next 2 months? Sometimes you have to put a lot of faith in the people that you bring into your organization. So, you take a leap of faith, and it happens. And the thing is, you just work with people, you have a good feeling about it. If you trust your instincts and just do right, do the things that you say you're going to do, be honest, deliver a killer product that's amazing, and just crush it. I think the rest is going to fall into place. And I feel very blessed to feel like that's where we're at today, and it's going to keep growing. So that's my answer for you.
So now, in talking about your team, I was at an event a couple of weeks ago with the SBA director and the mayor and Cindy Axney, and it was a round table of a lot of different businesses. Panka Chuck's restaurant was there, and the main thing that people were saying that was their problem, of course, supply chain, but beyond that, employee retention. Like, once you get a person in the door, how do you keep them coming back after that first check? I mean, like, that is the main problem I'm seeing a lot of small business owners have right now.
Yeah, and that's a very good question, TJ. I mean, small businesses, we're not able to provide the same benefits that maybe a big organization like Wells Fargo or a hospital can provide, whether it's from a healthcare perspective or retirement or options like that. But what we've done at Lola is there are organizations out there that can create plans. So for example, we use a PEO provider where we group a bunch of small businesses together where we can still get the same benefits, high quality benefits that some of these large organizations offer, and give them to our staff at a minimal cost. But you have to make that decision to invest in your employees. And I believe that companies that do invest in their employees and invest in their beliefs are the companies that succeed. And that's what we do at Lola. So we've invested in those things to really transition and make healthcare readily accessible, vision, dental, you name it. We offer that. We offer retirement, even including a match, right? We do a retirement match at Lola's, and we're a small business. It's not massive, but we still try to take care of what we can do within our means. And I think that, along with a good culture, good leadership, and just creating a great place. As you can see, our office is cool. If you get a chance to come see it, we've got LEDs, we've got hot sauce displays everywhere, we've got food everywhere. I swear we probably cater in lunch like 3 or 4 times a week. It's ridiculous because we're always creating new products. We're like, oh, well, let's try this new Carolina Reaper hot sauce on Jethro's or something. You know what I mean? And we'll just carry it in Jethro's. Um, but yeah, so just fun little things, group activities with the team. We try to get our team engaged as much as possible. So once a month we do group outings, and then we do have a happy hour at our office every Friday from 3 to 5. We will have a keg with some local beers, and we'll if anybody wants a beer, they can have one. So just a lot of fun things to keep our staff engaged.
Exactly. I think that's so important. And I'm like, even with even a small company with a minimal budget, even a thank you card is helpful, or even, a free
All the
lunch
fun.
here and there, or, you know, it's very, very important to set the right culture as well. So it's not like, oh, I need a body here, let me just hire people. No,
Right.
you have to have the right match for your company. So that's very important as well. Okay, so we have about 10 more minutes left. I'm going to let anybody in the chat if you have a question. My next question for you is, what is one piece of information that you want small business owners to know or to take to heart, about the journey, about challenges or whatever, what is one piece of information you want to give to the people on this call today?
Absolutely. So my one key piece of information to anybody that, is a small business owner thinking about becoming one or supporting one is to really focus on where you spend your dollars at, right? So I would definitely say supporting local is a big thing. A small business like ours, even though we have, 13 to 15 employees, we're still a small business, you know what I mean? And supporting that goes a long way because small businesses really are the heart of America. We drive a lot of things, and we're really the ones that are trying to improve and take care of the people. So my advice is to support them as much as possible. If you're thinking about starting one, please do. It's amazing. There's the SBA organization, which is amazing. TJ's got some great resources to help you start your business. Yeah, and if you already have one, keep the grind, keep up the good work because we work hard. People don't see it on the front end. They see all the glory. Oh, hey, Lola's got 1,000 new accounts, or they're opening a third or fourth restaurant, but you don't see the grind on the back that it took to get that done. It's tremendous weight, the toll on our families. It could be a toll on your family, to your health, to your travels, to anything. So just keep up the grind because I am rooting for you, and I hope y'all are rooting for me. So that's the game plan.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so give us your social media, Instagram, or is it all just at Lola's Hot Sauce?
It is, yep. So our Twitter's a little bit different. Somebody, I guess not somebody, I should say this, that Lola's Fine Hot Sauce was too long. So we had to do Lola's Fine Sauce, which is great because we have different sauces.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. And you know what? I did realize that when I was typing it out one day, it's Lola's Fine sauces
Yeah.
and not Lola's Fine Hot Sauce. I was like, when did they take hot sauce out of the, but I did notice that.
Yeah. So I would say, follow us on Facebook at Lola's Fine Hot Sauce. Instagram's at Lola's Fine Hot Sauce. You can also go to lolasfinehotsauce.com. Twitter's at Lola's Fine Sauce. And then yeah, we're just kind of everywhere. We got TikTok at Lola's Fine Hot Sauce or Snapchat at Lola's. And one thing I wanted to talk about too, TJ, and I hope this is inspiring to everybody here, but we kept part of the process, and I preach the grind, right? You just keep grinding and grinding. You feed the beast until you make it. One of the biggest partnerships that we just collaborated with has been Casey's General Store. So I love Casey's. I mean, hands up, pizza's the best. So, but they have 2,500 stores. They're the country's third largest C-store chain. We actually have co-branded snacks with them. So we have spicy peanuts, spicy pretzels, spicy cashews. You can actually find them in every Casey stores, and it's pretty cool. It's called Zesty Jalapeno and has a picture of our bottle right in front of it. So if you check out our Instagram, you can see a picture of what that looks like. But they're incredible. They're delicious. They're in every Casey's. So I mean, and for a big company like that to believe in a small, diverse business like us, it's possible. So I just want to tell everybody out there, like I said, if you're grinding or thinking about starting your business, do it because it is absolutely possible to make it, and you can do it. So great stuff.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Okay. And plus, there's more and more Casey's popping up every day, like closer. I remember back in the day, Casey's were only far out, so you had to drive a minute for your breakfast pizza. But now they're
Absolutely.
starting to get closer into the city, so that's exciting as well.
Come and Go is also a great account for us too. They've actually got a delicious Lola's menu at some of their unique stores. They've got a unique new fast fresh menu
Fresh
type
fries, I
deal.
saw
So we've got
that.
like a buffalo chicken bowl. We've got the pork trio stacker, which uses Lola's. It's so delicious. They actually take our Carolina Reaper and they mix it with mustard and they create like a souped up Cubano. It's so good. I think we're in about 40 stores with that food service program, but it's fantastic. So
Oh my
um,
goodness.
I mean, all the local stores around here, the local businesses are incredible. They'll support you, and yeah, it's
So, if
amazing.
anything that we could get from this is dream big
Dream
because it's
big.
possible. I mean, 5 years ago to now, like, come on. Or, so dream big. Don't ever underestimate yourself or your capabilities. So thank you, Taufeek, so much for taking the time today to share such valuable information with our audience. And thank you to the audience for being here, engaging, and asking questions. I want to remind you all that we have a lot of incredible programming coming up. Um, so what is it? Tuesday, March 8th at noon. We have a small business essentials, which is reaching your most profitable customers online. So, of course, that is a hot topic right now. If you would like more information, feel free to check out our website at www.theiowacenter.org. With that, I will close with my one piece of information for us all, and that is to love what you do and do what you love. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Taufeek.
Oh, thank you so much, TJ. Thank you, everybody, for coming and giving me this opportunity. Have a great day. Have a great weekend.
Absolutely.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.